Morning, everybody. I'm Don Stewart, and welcome to another edition of Breaking News. Today is Monday, the third day of February, 2025, and we have indeed arrived at a huge week with respect to the future of Israel, the Middle East, and how the United States is going to be a player in attempting to set the stage to bring peace to this region. Benjamin Netanyahu has arrived in D.C. and will meet President Donald Trump tomorrow. The meeting will answer many questions as to Trump's plan and how it'll affect Israel in both the short and the long term. Now, what we're going to do tomorrow, we're going to give a more detailed explanation of what we expect to happen in our first edition of Breaking News. Then, once the meeting is over and the world is informed as to what took place, as they'll have some type of press conference, then we'll do a second edition of Breaking News to summarize where we're at. What we're going to do today is list a number of stories that come across the wire that are setting the stage for Tuesday's meeting, as well as outlining what we expect to see in the future per what the scripture says. All right, here are the headlines. With Trump, Bibi aims to withdraw the Mideast map. With Trump back in the White House, Saudi Arabia looks to be a major player, is our second headline. Then, interestingly, why we need action by Trump and Israel. Iran is secretly building nuclear weapons able to reach Europe based on North Korean designs. Number four, Trump invites King Abdullah of Jordan to form a White House visit. It can be real interesting to see what happens there. And finally, trepidation and resilience in southern Israel as hostages, terrorists, and Gazans go home. What's going to happen to southern Israel? And again, likewise, what's going to happen to northern Israel after all the dust clears? Now, what these headlines reflect are the changing future of Israel and the Middle East, changes we have been expecting to see based on what the Bible tells us as to where these players will eventually line up, what's going to eventually happen. It is truly amazing to see everything fall into place. And this is what we do here on Breaking News, since we've been doing it now, getting on almost 2 years in May. Basically, again, if you're new to us, we have new people every day. We list the stories in the news that have something to do with last day's Bible prophecy, and we explain how they fit with what the scripture predicts. So we always, hook it up to our books on our website, Educating Our World. They're all free. 12 books on Bible prophecy, and explain in greater detail these books, what's going to happen, what's going to take place, and what we expect to see. What we don't do is make any predictions as to timing. We never say this is going to happen soon, this is going to happen next. We don't know. We know what's going to happen. We just don't know when. So we're just reporting what's going on. But this week, this is really something special because, as we will see, Benjamin Netanyahu is the first world leader that Donald Trump has invited to see or gone to see. He's coming, actually, Netanyahu, to D.C. With the start of his new administration. So this is huge that this would happen. And again, what's going to take place after this, it's going to be very interesting to find out. Again, for a comprehensive explanation as to where everyone will end up, see our 12 books on Bible prophecy from our website, Educating Our World, especially the book 25 Signs. We're near the end, and they're all free downloads, as everything we have on the site is free. The 800 plus videos, all the 65 books on 11 different subjects. Please take advantage of them. That's what we have them there. They're for you to explain what's going on, and we trust they will be a tremendous blessing to you. Okay, let's look at the headlines. Headline number one is from Virtual Jerusalem. With Trump, Bibi aims to withdraw the Mideast map. Focus of the summit will be on Gaza and Lebanon ceasefires, Iran, and regional alliances. But it's an incoming administration with an unprecedented pro-Israeli rhetoric and policy to match an opportunity for radical change. Yes, indeed. We've never had an administration that has been so pro-Israel as what we've seen with Donald Trump. Prime Minister Netanyahu departed for Washington yesterday, Sunday, where he will meet President Trump in what he described as historic and strategic visit. Before boarding his flight, Netanyahu made clear that he sees the meeting as an opportunity to redefine Israel's standing in the region and strengthen the alliance with the United States. I'm now heading to Washington for a very important meeting with President Trump, Netanyahu declared before boarding the Wing of Zion aircraft at the Ben Gurion Airport. The fact that this will be his first meeting with a foreign leader since his inauguration holds great significance for the state of Israel. First and foremost, it reflects the strength of the alliance between Israel and the United States. Secondly, it highlights the depth of our bond, a bond that has already yielded great achievements for Israel and the region, including the historic peace agreements between Israel and 4 Arab states, the Abraham Accords, led by President Trump. Notice there's nothing in between there. The 4 years that Joe Biden was in office, which was a big zero. Okay, focus on the summit. will be on Gaza and the Lebanon ceasefires, of course, Iran and regional alliances. But it's an incoming administration with unprecedented pro-Israeli rhetoric and policy to match an opportunity for radical change. And as we said, Netanyahu is the first world leader. Trump is meeting face to face. Now that he is again president, it will be interesting to see what happens, the results of this historic meeting. So stay tuned. This is going to be something very, very special. Now, a second headline. With Trump back in the White House, Saudi Arabia looks to be a major player. This is from a website called the Media Line. Saudi Arabia hopes a stronger bond with the U.S. will solidify its influence in the Middle East despite the challenges posed by controversial standing in the region. Now that Donald Trump is back in the White House, Saudi Arabia hopes to play a greater role in the Middle East. The Gulf nations' leaders aim to restore its glory after 4 years of tense relationship with the failed administration of former President Joe Biden. Soon after Trump took office, Saudi Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman, MBS, announced the kingdom's intention to invest 600 billion, that's billion with a B, in the U.S. over 4 years. The figure is higher than the 450 billion Saudi Arabia committed to investing in 2017. Trump told the media he would pressure Saudi Arabia to raise the intended investment to 1 trillion. Saudi Arabia may take him up on that offer. It means obtaining a green light from the U.S. regarding its intended geographical strategy. Now, one of the things also here, the article doesn't say this, but Saudis just have come out recently and have made it very clear that Hamas needs to leave the whole area of Gaza, that they're siding with Israel on this, and make it very clear that for the peace in the region, for some type of stability, Hamas must be gone. Okay, analysts say Riyadh sees investing in the U.S. as a double opportunity, leading to both economic prosperity and unlimited support from the Trump administration. That's what they do need with Iran hanging around. The Saudis are indeed a player in the last days, Bible prophecy. In fact, they're singled out in Ezekiel 38. It's called Sheba and Dedan, their ancient names, as an area that protests the invasion, the Russia-led invasion with Turkey, Iran, and the other countries, and wonder what's going on. What are you doing? Why are you doing something like this? Now, their motivation is likely because they have some type of relationship with Israel, not because they're wondering why they weren't invited to be part of the invasion too, to take spoils from Israel. But anyway, they are major players. They're singled out. And anytime some country, some region is singled out by the Bible with respect to some type of prediction, we must pay attention. So anyway, we'll see how all this falls into place, but we expect Saudis to be a major player, and this is exactly what we see. Now, our next headline shows one of the reasons why Trump must act and Israel must act, and probably very soon. Listen to this one. Iran secretly building nuclear weapons able to reach Europe based on North Korean designs. The National Council of Resistance of Iran reports Tehran is covertly expanding its nuclear weapons program with a missile range of 1,800 miles, using North Korean designs as facilities disguised as satellite launch sites. Iran has allegedly been covertly developing nuclear weapons with its 1,800-mile range that could reach Europe using these North Korean designs from Little Rocket Man, according to this website. The Telegraph in Britain reported Sunday, that's yesterday, that details provided by the NCRI, the National Council of Resistance of Iran, indicate that the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps, the IRGC, is expanding its warhead program at 2 sites disguised as communications satellite launch facilities. The facilities, controlled by Iran's Weapons Division, the Organization for Advanced Defense Research, are reportedly expediting missile production. Now, this headline illustrates the need for the U.S. and Israel to do something, and do something soon, to stop this program. The threat must be removed so that other players in the Middle East, along with Iran, can take center stage, namely Russia and Turkey. Russia and Turkey will move to the forefront. Iran will be there, but will be as a secondary player in the last days. Russia will be the main player. Turkey will also be a huge player with respect to invading Israel, and Iran, of course, will be there as a surrogate, subordinate. Now, what's interesting about this, we have to bring this up. We do it from time to time, but again, there's always new people watching. It's amazing to see this fall into place, because in the 1970s, when we talked about last day's Bible prophecy with Iran and Turkey working with Russia, Iran was Israel's best friend in the Middle East at that time, and Turkey, a member of NATO, is where the Israelis took their vacations, and very friendly towards Israel. But all that had to change according to the lineup the Bible said would take place at the time of the end. And here we are in 2025, and voila, it's exactly what happened. And so we will watch that. So again, from every angle, sooner or later, all these things just fall into place miraculously. Let's not uh, be unimpressed with this, but let's not let this just go by and say, oh, well, look at this. This is something huge. It's something been predicted by Scripture. Those who took the Bible seriously have predicted this for years and years, and here it is right in front of our very eyes. Now, this next one's going to be one of the most interesting of all. Trump has invited King Abdullah of Jordan to a formal White House visit. He's going to meet Trump on February 11th. That's what, 8 days from now, something like that, for a White House visit. He's after Trump meets Netanyahu. Trump's controversial Gaza and relocation plan faces strong opposition from Jordan, Egypt, and the other Arab nations who reject displacing Palestinians as a solution to Gaza crisis. I love it how they say it, displacing Palestinians. Well, the Palestinians have been displaced by what Hamas has done. Again, if you've seen some of the pictures of what particularly northern Gaza looks like, it's just like, atom bomb or hydrogen bomb hit it. Everything has just been leveled. And so their infrastructure is gone. And as we've said, there are people who actually had gone, we're going to talk about this in the next heading, who'd gone back from southern Gaza to northern Gaza to their homes and had turned around, gone right back because there's nothing there. So basically, this could be fascinating to see if Trump could pull something like this off. The 2 million Gazans must go somewhere rebuilding when the rebuilding takes place. And again, like many in the South, they return north and they turn right around and go back because everything's been destroyed. And it's going to take a long time, 9 months probably at least, to clear out all the debris before you can even start to think about rebuilding. But they're going to have to do something. They're going to have to go somewhere. And Trump says it's got to be Jordan, it's going to be Egypt. Now, Jordan and Egypt don't want this to happen, but evidently Trump will make them some offers they can't refuse. It's going to be interesting to see how all this fits in. So, again, fascinating stuff. Now, finally, headline number 5, trepidation and resilience in southern Israel as hostages, terrorists, Gazans go home. The release in recent days of Israeli hostages from their hellish Gazan captivity has attuned the country to a grim and wrenching emotional experience as the nation watches with horrified attention as hostages held by Hamas and other terror groups are released amid the tumult of Gazan crowds clamoring around the captives. This terror and trepidation abates once the hostages are transferred to be replaced by a tearful joy at the redemption of those who were kept in traumatic captivity for so long. Here's the interesting thing. But these scenes are just one side of a multifaceted coin. The flip sides of which are seeing are the release of the Palestinian security prisoners, including the hardened terrorists, which we've talked about, murders with blood on their hands, and the return of hundreds of thousands of Palestinians to northern Gaza under the terms of the ceasefire agreement that Israel signed with Hamas. This complex reality has profound significance, the article goes on to say, in particular for the residents of the Western Negev region, otherwise known as the Gaza envelope, the cluster of kibbutzim, moshavim, towns, and small communities that bore the brunt of the invasion and massacres perpetrated by Hamas on October 7th, 2023. Now, there is indeed trepidation and fear as to what this area will experience now. I can imagine the 15 months of just absolute I don't even have adjectives to explain what they've seen. The horror that was there, the murderous events that took place on October 7th, the aftermath and all that. And they're hoping against hope that their lives will somehow return to some type of normalcy soon in that area. And the same holds true for those in the northern area of the Galilee, which had been bombarded by Hamas for about a year. So much is at stake here. What will happen next? Well, let's stay tuned and find out. It's going to be very interesting to see. But here's what we do know for sure. What will take place will set the stage precisely for what the Bible has said we should expect to see at the time of the end, as all the players line up at their various parts on the stage, the world stage. So these events that Scripture has predicted so long ago can finally take place. It's really an exciting time to be alive, isn't it? I'm Don Stewart. Thanks for watching, and we'll keep you posted with all this. Until then, as always, may the Lord richly, richly bless.